Hello, today we're going to talk about Kingdom Protista. This is a very weird kingdom, and we're going to learn some of the basic information just to kind of get us started on what this kingdom is and what it's all about. Alright, Kingdom Protista, really about the only thing that we can say about this kingdom is that it's eukaryotic cells. They have a nucleus, so these guys are not like the bacteria we talked about before. These guys have nucleuses and they have membrane-bound organelles. And the other thing is, basically, they're not a plant, they're not an animal, and they're not a fungi. So that's what makes this kingdom very unique. We're going to talk more about that later, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now again, this kingdom, because there's so much variety in this kingdom, we can't really just nail it down as to one or two few characteristics. So as you can see, they're usually single celled, but some can be as big as a house. If you talk about the giant kelp forest, those things could be large and basically whole ecosystems. So they're really amazing. They're usually found in wet environments. You don't often find them in dry places like a desert or anything like that. And then as you can see, they have both sexual and asexual reproduction, so there's no real common thread there. Some are modal, some are non-modal. Again, nothing in common necessarily. And then there are also a mix of autotrophs, heterotrophs, and saplotrophs. Basically, the autotrophs are kind of like the plants. They get their energy from the sun. The heterotrophs go around and eat things to get their energy, and the saplotrophs are like fungi. They have to absorb dead material or dying material to get their energy. And some are even parasite. The one I often think of is the flesh-eating amoeba, or the brain-eating amoeba that gets into your brain and will basically cannibalize the inside of you. So those are the really dangerous ones you want to avoid. Alright, so let's just focus a little bit more. I put over here the three groups that we break these guys up into. They're plant-like, animal-like, and fungi-like. And again, the plant-like ones, the reason why they're like a plant is because they get their energy from the sun, but they are not plants because they get their, the way they reproduce is a lot different than plants, and we'll get more into that later in the semester. The animal-like ones, they're kind of like animals. They will move around, they will ingest things and eat them. But by our human definition, again, this is just a human definition, we've decided as scientists that animals are multicellular, and these guys are only one cell. The ones that are animal-like are like this. And then finally, the last one group is fungi-like, and again, they'll make energy, they'll get their energy from dead or decaying organic material. And the reason why they're not classified in kingdom fungi, even though they look and basically act like fungi, is on a cellular level, their cell walls have are made out of a material called cellulose, which is very similar to plants. And most fungi, or fungi in general, have their cell walls made out of this material called chitin. So basically, that's just a quick summary of what Kingdom Protista is. They're basically things that have a nucleus, and they're not a plant, they're not an animal, and they're not a fungi. So we took all that stuff and put it into one big group, and we called it Kingdom Protista. Keep in mind, this kingdom is fluid. Things may move in and out of this kingdom as time goes on, and as scientists learn more and more, especially with DNA evidence, that might change things. But for right now, these are the basics of Kingdom Protista.